And good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our fourth day of the virtual experience for the Texas 4000 Riders. So this is the Texas 4000 Summer Ride Experience presented by Abbott. And so we're extremely excited to be having our fourth day. We will have representatives from the Ozarks route here with us today. And just like we do with everything, we start off our days with ride dedications. And so I am going to welcome in a few riders with us this morning so that we can kick it off with ride dedications before they get into cycling at the top of the hour at 8 a.m. And so today we have Gabriella Kate, Catherine Jones, and Gretchen Maggio. And so we're very excited to have them on with us this morning to help out with ride dedications. And so if just before we get started, so everybody who is watching online can get a gauge, could you all explain a little bit about what ride dedications are and what they mean to you?
Yeah, so I think ride deds is just something that we do before we start anything in Texas 4000, and I think it always reminds our whole team why we're doing this, why we're riding, and it gives purpose to all the actions that we do within the org, and it kind of all grounds us all in this idea of, all these people that we do this for.
Awesome. Cool. But yeah, so ride dedications, what people traditionally will do is let those around them know that they are riding for a loved one or something. And with that, they typically would say, I ride for my mom. And that's one of my ride dedications that I do a lot of times. And sometimes people will go into a little bit more detail into what those ride dedications are. And then from there, they would move on to the next person. And so we have a few different ways that people can make ride dedications. You can go to our website, texas4000.org, and make a ride dedication there. But if you want to participate this morning, please feel free to leave a comment in the Facebook live stream comment section, and we will be able to see those and pop those up on the stream and be able to read those off and make sure that the riders are riding for them today. And so with that, I think that we will probably kick things off with ride dedications. And riders, you can take it away, and a few more of your teammates may be popping in here as well to make some live ride dedications as well.
Yeah, I would love to give a ride dead for my grandfather. He turned 81 this past weekend. He's a cancer survivor. I believe he's a little over 10 years now cancer-free. So we're riding for Papa Vince.
Good morning. Thank you for being with us.
I am writing for my grandma, Gina Jones. We called her Meemaw. She passed away 15 years ago from breast cancer, but as we would be riding through the South right now, I always think of her and all the strength she had in her 2 battles with breast cancer. So writing for her today and her strength.
Thank you, Scott. We'll definitely ride for your grandpa and your uncle.
So I wanted to ride today for a fellow mechanical engineering student and UT graduate. I found out yesterday that she passed away from leukemia a couple days ago. And I didn't know her too well because she was a year above me in school, but I did know a lot of her friends, and a lot of her friends are my friends. And I just know that everyone that knew her is hurting right now from hearing this news. So I really just want to ride for her, her family, and all of her friends that are really hurting right now. Likewise, I also have been volunteering with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society through Texas 4000. And I just wanted to ride for all of the patients that are part of the society, as well as all the volunteers and employees that are part of the society. They're doing really amazing work for patients right now, so I'm proud to be volunteering with them. So I want to ride for all of those people.
Good morning, Barbara. Yes, we will definitely ride for your friend Carlos.
Hi, Grandma.
Yeah, so one of the main people that I ride for is my grandma. She actually was diagnosed with cancer during my onboarding semester with the org, but she is now cancer free. She had a double mastectomy, and I just ride for her strength during that procedure because I know that that was really hard on her. So.
I'm just going to jump back in here again. We have a special guest this morning who would like to come in and make a ride dedication as well. So with us, we have one of our board members, Wes Carberry, who's also a partner at Sense Corp. He's been a longtime supporter of Texas 4000, been very involved, and so I'd like to welcome him this morning to be able to give a ride dedication here with us.
Yeah, thanks, Ross. I mean, as you mentioned, every time that we as a board get together for meetings or really even for events, we also like to share in and give ride dedications. And for a lot recently this year, I've been riding for my good friend Sean, who unfortunately lost his battle with cancer on Christmas last year. But we continue to ride for him, and I'll be riding for him today as well. Thanks, Ross.
Yeah, no problem, Wes.
Thank you, Tammy. We will definitely ride for your friend Kelly.
Me and Yelmer, we will be riding for the Kerr family.
Hey guys.
Morning.
I'm riding for my friend Chase Gage. He was a childhood neighbor and friend of mine, and a few weeks ago marked the 5th anniversary of his death. It wasn't cancer related, but he was one of the original reasons why I joined Texas 4000. So I'm just keeping him and him and his family in my thoughts right now.
So riders, I thought I would pop in while we're waiting for a few more comments coming here. Just a reminder for everybody watching online that you can leave a comment in the Facebook Live comment section, and we will be able to see those here and make sure that the riders are riding for your loved ones today. But riders, I was wondering, were there any situations that you ran into within your time in Texas 4000 where you kind of got an unexpected ride dedication or somebody to ride for throughout your experience, whether it was at any of your volunteering events, out panhandling, or anything like that?
I definitely got some really impactful ride deds from my teammates. I always ride for all of them and people they ride for as well as people I ride for. And just sometimes, like Gabriella talked about earlier, we always do this before meetings or Saturday rides. Every once in a while you hear story, and then it really motivates you for the day. So yeah, definitely riding for my teammates and all the people they ride for as well.
Awesome.
Prior to the Austin Marathon this year, I was about to run it with some teammates, and a few people stopped us and came to talk to us, and they were running for themselves after beating cancer, and for others that they lost to cancer. So it's pretty impactful to see just how, not biking but in running, to see how that also translated, and also so taking those people over with us to ride for them as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think also the volunteer opportunities always kind of present a unique situation because, sometimes we're volunteering directly with cancer patients and survivors. And I think that that's so impactful because it's so like amazing to see their strength and to see that they're still going to be running these races and these marathons even after beating cancer. Like they're just such strong people. And I think that that's really inspiring to me to meet people like that. And it encourages me to be stronger and to finish. Even if I'm having a hard time on a ride, I just think about those people that I meet at those volunteer events. And I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's pretty crazy what the jersey will do when people see the fighting cancer every mile on the back, and that once they ask you what you're doing, and that one of the awesome things is that the riders are really good at doing this. Is that whenever they meet people and they tell them about what they're doing in Texas 4000, they also tell them, but also we can, if there's anybody that in your family or close to you that's been affected by cancer, we'd be happy to ride for them. And that we've seen that really kind of breaks down some barriers between people, which is a beautiful thing to be able to get to learn something so intimate about somebody and be able to continue to ride for them. So.
Yeah, for sure. I think also I had this cool moment. I just remembered it, but it was on the Buc-ee's ride, so our last Saturday ride. And we were riding through in Bastrop. We were riding through like the town square area, and it was so cold. And we had just been talking about, oh my gosh, it's so cold. And then this family on the sidewalk started cheering us on because they saw the fighting cancer every mile on the back of our jerseys. And so then we were at the stoplight, and they were just talking to us about how much they love what we're doing and like how they've all been affected by cancer. And that honestly got me through the rest of the ride, because I thought that was so cool that they were like cheering for us and talking to us like while we were at a stoplight. It was so cool.
Yeah. And want to quickly say thank you to Elisa, and that the riders are definitely riding for your cousin Rebecca Salinas today, while they kick off their ride in a few minutes. And so, but yeah, thank you, riders. I'll let you take a look at any more comments that are coming through, and then in a few minutes we'll jump over to cycling once we're done with ride dedications.
That's a really awesome comment. I'm really excited to learn more about Oshner. I think they're visiting with us today and on Saturday, so I'm super excited. But yeah.
Good morning, Rhonda. We will definitely ride for your dad. So I think the virtual ride has made us closer because I think it's kind of presented this new challenge, which I think a lot of people on our team really like the challenge of it. And I think adapting everything to virtual and figuring out a way to make it as close to the in-person ride as possible has definitely brought along a new spirit of teamwork that's kind of like, not to say stronger than what we had before, but different than what we had before, because our only interactions are through Zoom and through Slack. But I think like that's made us all kind of realize what a special bond we had as a team too.
Hi, Paul. Yes, you can definitely ride for Erica. Thank you so much for sharing.
Good morning, Christy.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing those ride deads. We will definitely be riding for all of them.
Hi, Mom. Yes, you can ride for Caroline.
Good morning, Jody. We will definitely ride for them. Thank you for sharing.
Go Zarks. Yes, riding from Minneapolis.
Hi, Rebecca. We are definitely writing for Danny and thinking of him during this time. Thank you so much.
Hey, Ryan. We will run for Todd. And yes, be the match. We love be the match.
For me, another main reason that I ride, and I think this is something that's super important, is I ride for inequality in cancer care and how it's so a lot harder for certain groups to get cancer care than other groups. And I think that's the main reason why I want to ride, is just to ensure that everyone is able to get adequate care for cancer in the future so that everyone has a fair chance of surviving it.
I agree. I also want to bring hope and knowledge to these groups, to minority groups and underrepresented groups who don't typically get as much access or availability when it comes to this healthcare and support services. So always writing for them and hoping for improvement.
For sure. And for everyone following, we actually will be featuring on social media a few of those statistics just to show the importance of this knowledge.
Awesome. Well, it has been great to hear the ride dedications from the community, as well as from you all and from Wes as well just a few minutes ago. Just a reminder for everybody, if you have any last ride dedications, feel free to leave those in the comment section on Facebook Live. We will be able to see those here, and the riders will then be able to ride for your loved ones today. We are about ready to wrap up to let the riders start getting ready to get on their bikes for their cycling portion of the day, which will start at 8 a.m. With that, if you have any last ride dedications, feel free to put them in the comment section. But if not, you can continue to keep giving those ride dedications throughout their cycling, and we'll be able to put those up on the screen, and they'll be able to see those and ride for those. Just a few notes. We do have our website, texas4000.org, where you can go and find the schedule of events that are going on, as well as donating if that is something that you would like to do, as well as being able to view our live stream there. So feel free to go there to take a look at that. And we will be moving to some evening broadcasts over the next few days as well. And so the next 3 days, we'll be having our broadcast going live at 8 p.m. until 9:30. And so as the riders start to move west some, we are having that to allow them to be able to engage with people during times during the day that they would be able to engage best. And so just letting everybody know about a few of those opportunities that will be coming up over the next few days.
Thank you, Dad, for the ride, Dad.
Awesome. And so I think with that, we will move over to our hold screen for a little bit, let you all get ready on your bikes, and we will visit back with you shortly.
Thanks, Ross.
Awesome. Thank you all so much.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Wes Carberry. It's my pleasure to be on the board of Texas 4000. It's actually my 5th year on the board. I've been involved with the organization since very early on. In fact, our company, SenseCorp, was one of the founding sponsors of Texas 4000. And I'm excited to get to MC today's broadcast of the virtual ride. Just a little bit of logistics. Please post your comments and questions either on Facebook Live or on YouTube. And we'll have them show up here on the screen, and we'll be able to talk to the writers about your questions as we go along. So a quick introduction for those of you that might be new to Texas 4000. It's a nonprofit organization that cultivates student leaders and engages communities in the fight against cancer. Our cornerstone event is an annual 4,000 plus mile bike ride from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. So we have 79 members of the 2020 team that have been preparing and training for their life-altering cross-country summer bike ride for 18 months. And due to COVID-19, we were forced to make the heartbreaking decision to cancel the 2020 ride to Alaska. Now, the pandemic is affecting all of our lives, and it may have brought the entire world to a standstill, but cancer rages on, and so the ride must go on, virtually in this case. So for the month of June, this team is riding to Alaska virtually. We're incredibly excited about this plan and so incredibly proud of the individuals on this team who have shown tremendous courage and creativity throughout this time. A little more introduction. There's actually 3 routes that go from Austin to Anchorage, Alaska: the Sierra route, Rockies route, and the Ozarks route. Now, today, this is great. This is the first day that the Ozarks route has this live stream all to themselves. And I'm extremely excited and fortunate to be a part of it because it's actually a special route to me. I grew up right outside of Temple, which would have been their second stop out of Lampasas and out of Austin and Lampasas. And I also get to ride with them a lot as they come through St. Louis, as we have an office in St. Louis as well. So with that, I wanted to introduce some of the riders we have with us today. We're fortunate to have 3 riders, which I think we'll be able to see on their bikes: Gabriella, Catherine, and Grayson. So hey guys, how you doing this morning?
Doing well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we know you guys are all a part of the Ozarks route, but why don't you guys tell us a little bit more about yourself and introduce yourself? Gabriella, let's start with you.
Thank you. So I am a sophomore. I just finished my sophomore year. I'm an advertising and English major, and I hope to go to law school someday. And my main ride dedications are for my grandma and for my younger cousin.
Catherine, how about you?
I'm from Austin. I actually just graduated with degrees in public health and nutrition, and I'm headed to get my master's in public health in the fall. And I am writing for many people, one of which I mentioned earlier was my grandma, Mima. Also writing for my other grandmother, one of my high school science teachers, Mrs. Bold, and some other classmates who battled cancer and inspired me to keep going every day.
Fantastic. Thank you, Catherine. And Grayson, let's tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, my name is Grayson Matthew. I'm obviously on the Ozarks route. I'm about to start my 5th year in the degree of biomedical engineering. And yeah, super excited to be doing this.
Fantastic. Well, we're really excited to have you guys. And for those of you that may be just joining us at the top of this hour, please check out our schedule of events on texas4000.org because we actually, before the rides, we like to kick off with ride dedications. And so it's important to understand that we are really centered around our mission of fighting cancer. And so it's really been inspiring to be a part of working with these young student leaders as they plan for and execute the summer rides. But a little interesting fact, which some folks may not know, is that we talked about the 3 routes, Sierra and Rockies. They were started with the organization, and the first ride for them was in 2004. But the first ride for the Ozarks was actually in 2013, and so it was actually the 10th ride year that we'd gone through. And the Ozarks route itself was really sort of formulated and created by the riders themselves. And so, I've been told by past Ozarks teams that the Ozarks route really attracts the trailblazers. I don't know if you guys think that that's the case. Do you think that's true? Grayson, what do you think?
You could definitely say that. Definitely always, I feel like, or definitely this year, definitely the louder voices, definitely the ones, the ones yelling Gozarks, annoying the other 2 routes a lot. A big thing that I like to say is Ozarks is the most mission focused. I think they're all very mission focused, but Ozarks has the privilege of going through the most cities compared to the other 2 routes and getting to visit most hospitals. So that is truly special.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about kind of the 3 pillars of Texas 4000: hope, knowledge, and charity. And I remember I wasn't on the board, but I was definitely part of the organization whenever the Ozarks route was launched. And I was really starting to question our knowledge pillar when I said, well, wait a minute. So Anchorage, Alaska is northwest from Austin, Texas. And Ozarks is going to start out by going to Houston and New Orleans, southeast. Like, that doesn't seem to make sense to me. But Grayson, you talked about that in the sense that it actually allows us to outreach not only more communities, the quantity, but the quality of the communities as well. There's a lot of towns and cities that you'll go through within the cancer belt of the United States, and so that's really critical for us. And I know a big part of what you guys do is provide programs, and a lot of times for a lot of these, especially smaller communities in the cancer belt, this is the first time they're learning about cancer prevention and how they can help themselves. So, Catherine, you know, what's been maybe some of the more impactful programs that you've been able to put together? Because as part of your training and as part of preparing for the ride, you guys are currently, I mean, have been providing programs in the Austin area. What are some of the impactful programs that you've personally been a part of?
I think just getting to see how we can connect for us in Austin, connecting with the diverse communities here, even within the UT campus, encouraging, while it's not necessarily a program, but working with Be the Match to increase the diversity on the bone marrow registry program has been pretty amazing, because that's one of the issues that the bone marrow registry faces, is that people who are of various backgrounds have harder time finding a bone marrow registry match. So using our programs and resources as a team to help the organization of Be the Match create a bigger spectrum of donors and hopefully give more opportunities for people on the registry themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's incredible, the work that we've done. But then, of course, you guys are on your bikes. And I know from a training perspective and preparation for the ride, I mean, you guys had already ridden 1,750 miles just to make sure that you are being safe and comfortable on the roads. And, you know, now, even though that we're on indoor trainers, and I've enjoyed joining you guys for a few of these virtual rides as well, I know it's not just the three of you, but you guys have a whole Ozarks ride group that's riding with you today, this morning. Yeah, I think we may have another view that has some video of them, just to show that it's not just the three of you guys riding alone. Yeah, there we go. Hey guys, good morning. Good to see you guys. All right, well, you guys all look like you're working pretty hard. You're making me feel a little bit guilty for not being on a bike myself, but I wouldn't be able to carry on a conversation. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick little break and let these guys get some miles in. And please make sure that you're leveraging the Facebook Live or the YouTube comments. We'd love to be able to interact directly with those of you that are watching today. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the different pillars of the organization, and specifically charity and the grants. And Grayson, you talked about the different hospitals and cancer fighting organizations you guys get to meet along the way. So we'll see everybody in a few.
Thank you, Madeline. You arrived for your uncle.
Hi, Teresa. Yes, I think we will definitely ride for your mom, Pat. Thank you for sharing.
Good morning, Gail. Thank you so much for sharing. We definitely will. It's definitely a hard time for those people. We'll keep them in mind.
Hey, shout out Justin, a pure soul.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yo, shout out CLIF. Big shout out.
I had the coffee one this morning. It really got me up. They're so good.
Yeah. Those who didn't know, we're sponsored by CLIF. So they give us products for the ride. Yeah, these little block energy shoes, they're amazing. And a lot of people don't like the ginger ale, but you're sleeping on it if you're not, because they're the best ones. Not even close.
Ooh, favorite Ozarks memory. That's really hard.
Ooh, I talked this on the 24-hour relay the other day, but when Oshka hosted just a little get together after a Saturday ride.
Yeah, that was so fun.
And she posted up the tent. Like she had just gotten her tent and she put up her tent in the middle of her living room.
Yes.
And all of us just hanging out in the tent and playing games, talking. And it was very much this is what it's gonna be like. This is what the ride's gonna be like. So that was a really cool memory.
Yes, that was definitely so fun. And also, I think we hung out on Halloween, maybe, or the day before Halloween, and that was also really fun.
Yeah, just our route-specific meetings and calls have been fun. Just getting to hang out with each other, even though, we're all the way apart from each other, but getting to be close.
Hey guys, I can see you guys working pretty hard here, and so actually I wanted to talk to Ross a bit about your training plans and kind of the different training programs. For those of you that haven't had a chance to meet him, Ross McGarity actually is our program director. So not only is he in charge of the overall ride itself, but also all the leadership development programs that go along in preparation of the ride. But Ross, I mean, I just seeing these guys on their bike, it really makes me think about, the fact that we really have a wide variety of students that choose to join Texas 4000 from a cycling experience perspective. Can you talk to us a little bit about, the range of experience that you've seen come through the program? Because actually, and I forgot to mention, you as well have made the ride. You're an alumni as well.
Yeah, definitely. There is a very large range of the physical background that people on the team have. I will say that, of course, cycling from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska is something that attracts people who have cycling experience. There's always some people who have a background in cycling who want to get into this, and it sounds like it's the next great challenge for them to do. And so we always have a few people like that at least. But I think one of the most impressive things is that every year we have at least one rider who has never ridden a bike before. And so we have a training plan to get everybody up to speed in a similar fashion so that they're all ready to take on this task together. And so it's been extremely impressive to see riders who they're completely new to this, and not only to riding a bike, but clipping in and being connected to their bike and everything. And I will say that biking was something that was not natural to me when I joined the Oregon. Upon first trying to clip in, I just fell over, and because being attached to your bike is a completely new experience to that. And so the vast majority of riders have never clipped in. And so we have a range from never ridden to people who have done bike racing and triathlons. And it's pretty incredible what they do. But we essentially train them up starting at about 3 miles all the way up to 100 miles prior to their ride.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean. It goes into the training where you're not just setting them out. And I mentioned earlier the just under 2,000 miles of training that is done on the bike. We don't just say ride a couple thousand miles and go for it. I mean, there's a rigid training plan that everybody goes through, and that includes a training camp. Can you tell us a little bit more about the training camp?
Yeah, definitely. And so training camp has been going on for over 10 years now, and it's in a town between Austin and Houston called Fayetteville. And so they graciously welcome us in, and we meet with cycling coaches from the Houston area who come and help train the riders, as well as alumni of our organization. And so we have coaches who are alumni from our organization, the coaches from Houston, and they help put the riders up to speed, teaching them safety protocol and making sure that kind of giving them their first intro into riding on hills and stuff out in kind of the pseudo Texas hill country. At Fayetteville, there's some decent hills out there. And so they get a chance to go out and ride about 20 miles each day and see what it's like to be out on the bike and be out on the road and get a chance to learn from some great coaches who've been doing this for years. We have coaches who have trained people who have done racing and just have put in thousands and thousands and thousands of miles on their own bikes to just bring their experience.
That's great. So what about you riders? Were there any great training camp stories from this past year? Anything that comes to mind? Anything funny or maybe the greatest thing you learned?
I think for me, I did not have much cycling experience before. Like, I had ridden a bike before, but I had never clipped in or anything, didn't really know how to shift my gears or anything. So the first ride that we did before training camp, I was so worried that I was never going to learn how to climb hills because I didn't know how to do the gears, and I was so worried about it. But then on training camp, when I finally learned how to get the gears right, I just remember like flying down a hill and like using my momentum to push me up the next uphill, and it felt so good to be like, okay, I actually can do hills. Like, I'm not like bad at biking. Like, once I learned that, I think made biking like 1,000 times easier for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, I laughed a little bit when Ross said clipping in is unnatural. I remember the first time I tried to clip in to a road bike, and yeah, because it holds your legs to not panic. So
Yeah.
when you start to fall, you want to bring your leg out to the side, and that's not how it comes out.
Yes, and then you're like, your bike's on top of your leg and your leg still clipped in, and you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to get off the ground right now, but this is embarrassing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great. But you know, Ross, back to you. In addition to the cycling, though, there's the broader leadership development program as well. And so, can you tell us maybe a little bit more about that and what it entails?
Yeah, definitely. We have an extensive leadership structure within the team, and within there's a lot of lessons that they learn, and so the riders learn a lot about some of our foundational leadership skills like resilience and self-awareness and accountability and things like that. And within the team, and we're fortunate to have a few of them here, we have various leadership positions. And so Texas 4000 very much holds true to allowing the riders to have ownership over this experience and making it what it is going to be best for them as a team. And so we help facilitate that and mentor them versus telling them what they have to do. And so within that, we have our ride directors. And so we have the Ozarks ride director and assistant ride director on here with us. So that's Grayson and Catherine. And then we have chair positions, all sorts of different committees that take on different things, like media and public relations, which Gabriella was a member of that committee. And so she helped to do a lot of our like media outreach and stuff like that on social media. And then we have a fitness and safety committee. We talked somewhat about the training and everything. We have a committee that helps make sure that the riders are being safe and getting trained, volunteerism, fundraising, and a bunch of different areas. And the riders get a chance to take ownership over these and learn and make mistakes and then grow from those to become better leaders.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's what, you know, ultimately the leadership development program, you know, has been built up over the last decade, really, as we realized, hey, that's required to handle the summer ride. But I know this year is no different. you talk about, and guys, I know that you've experienced this virtual ride has required a lot of resiliency and a lot of adaptability. And I really think as forging leaders, and I can only imagine, Catherine and Grayson, like how much, the leadership of trying to work through disappointment and change has really weighed on you guys. So I'm really in awe and admiration of you. And really, I mean, you guys mentioned CLIF earlier, but we have a whole set of sponsors that frankly help fund the leadership development program. Abbott is actually our title sponsor right now, and we're so blessed and fortunate to have them. But we also have United Heritage Credit Union and Hillcorp and the Zebra. And so we're very grateful to our sponsors who have helped us carry that on. And frankly, if anybody is new to Texas 4000 or even been around for a while like I have, and you feel so moved by understanding what these riders are doing and helping fight against cancer, please go to texas4000.org. You'll have the ability to donate and give, and again, not even fund this year's rider, which you absolutely will, but also the future years as well. Grayson, I don't know if you or Catherine have any anecdotes from maybe how your leadership has been tested, or really the thing maybe you're most proud of over the last few weeks as we've really pivoted and transitioned to this.
I think Ross hit it pretty well when he said that learn from your mistakes, because lots of mistakes are made. We were just college kids learning how to do things. So, but yeah, a lot of those things, just maybe not saying the right thing or not acting the right way, can sometimes have a bigger effect than you think. And then also, in terms of these last few weeks, yeah, it's been really difficult, but I always have my teammates and other leaders to lean on. It's been really helpful. And it's been the weekend, like last Friday, the 24-hour ride. Saturday was picked up for cancer, and today, like seeing it all come together has been really, really awesome. And I was just so impressed with the maturity and passion of our team. So, yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, and I just agree. Oh, I'm sorry, Catherine, but I just saw a comment come across from Teresa Whitwell, how she sponsored a stop. I'm assuming that means she hosted in Ashdown, Texas, in 2013. Maybe Catherine, you can talk about the leadership with the travel committee and how you organize with the different stops and hosts along the way. And I know you weren't the chair of the travel committee, but I'm sure you had exposure to that as well. Sorry to interrupt you earlier.
No, you're our travel chair for Ozarks, Peyton, is absolutely wonderful. Probably the most, has everything together. I'm in awe of her. She and her travel committee, truly, even before all of this happened, when we were on our way to the ride, they were contacting hosts across the country and Canada and getting us secured with donations, and it was amazing to see that. And even throughout, as we went through our delay plans and now to the alternative ride, they just have consistently been the backbone for our team and have always been just modifying and helping in any way possible to make sure that our ride is, although different, we're still connecting with people across the country and getting that experience we normally would. So without them, we would be nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think they're a big part of why I ride. And I actually saw Samantha send across a comment earlier, Gabriella, about your why you ride. I think everybody again can go to texas4000.org, see each of your profiles, each of your teammates' profiles, not only on Ozarks but across all of the routes, and they can see why you ride. Gabriella, you want to tell us a little bit about the why I ride concept and maybe a little bit about your story?
Yeah. So why I ride, I think like earlier, they're just super important ride dedications, and then the why I rides. In a lot of our meetings, we would have someone from our team present their main reasons for riding to us, and with some photos and with their story. And honestly, that was always my favorite part about Monday meetings, was the opportunity to hear why my teammates were riding and kind of adopt their why I rides as my own, because I think that connected me to a lot of my teammates. And also I gained so much respect for all of them, just being like, this is what they've gone through, and like they are so strong because of it. So I really love the Why I Rides. For mine, a big part of my story is my cousin Anna had rhabdomyosarcoma when she was diagnosed at age 3, and that's a very rare form of soft tissue cancer. And I think seeing how that changed her and her siblings as she was going through treatment, and they were forced to grow up much faster than children should ever have to, just because of this cancer that had come into their lives. That really impacted me, and I was in middle school at the time, and that was really my first exposure to cancer. But I just remember thinking how unfair it was that there was 3-year-old kids who had to go and have chemotherapy and lose their hair, and not just be able to live a normal child life like I was able to live when I was that age. And she passed away when she was 5, which was when I was about in 7th or 8th grade. And I think that just motivated me to do something, anything to help put an end to pediatric cancer, because I just couldn't wrap my head around how unfair it was that kids had to go through this.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, go to texas4000.org and check out all of the riders Why I Ride, because literally everyone you saw on the screen there that's riding today, as well as all their teammates that'll come on the different route days, have a reason for riding, and they're all that impactful. Hey, Colin, thanks. Yeah, absolutely. Over $500,000 raised in the fight against cancer from the 2020 team. And really that's, let's talk about the charity pillar for a minute. As an organization, since our inception in 2003, we've raised over $10 million in the fight against cancer. And a big part of that, servicing our charity pillar is giving grants to cancer research and services organizations. For example, and you guys may not even know this, because we had a multi-year grant to MD Anderson in Houston, which is also known as Ozark Stop, so actually you probably do, that provided the seed funding for 2 of the 13 cancer moonshots that they're currently pursuing. And so that's a really exciting and impactful thing. And Grayson, I know you were with me, and when we as a board and some of the riders had the opportunity to tour the Dell Medical School to see the impact of our grant that we provided to the Catalyst program there. How did that impact you, Grayson, seeing that in person?
Yeah, when I was just a wee onboarding rider, so I haven't touched a bike yet. I got the privilege of touring the Dell Med Center, and it was like really eye-opening. They sat us down and had like a full-on meeting to discuss how they basically the grant money and how it was being used. So they literally brought in like, okay, this is how much you granted, and this is what we bought with your grant, which was a employee. And I just thought that was really, really cool to see, like, okay, like this is, we're writing for this reason, and we're granting for this reason, and this is how it's being used. And a really cool stat to use was like a patient from, I believe, MD Anderson, I transferred to Dell Med, and for the first time in 4 years saw the tumor shrink after seeing the employee that we helped hire. And for me, that was just like an epiphany moment. I always knew that's how it worked, but to see it in action and see like the cause and effect was really inspiring. And I know that's happening all over the country. It's a place to be grants.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gabriella's story as well kind of made me think a lot about the significance of Ochsner. I think I saw somebody from Ochsner commented earlier today, and I know you guys actually have a program where you'll be speaking to them today as well directly. But aside from being a grant recipient, do you guys know the significance of Ochsner to Texas 4000? Well, it may predate you a little bit. And so really our founder, Chris Condit, as a child actually had Hodgkin's lymphoma and spent 11 months at Ochsner. And the reason that this made me think of your story, Gabriella, is the fact that he had the opportunity after Texas 4000 was formed, and frankly, after the Ozarks route was created, that went east before it goes west, and had the ability to actually go back and provide the first grant the Texas 4000 had given to Ochsner. And he actually had the opportunity to give the grant personally to his oncologist that treated him, Dr. Troy Scroggins. And I remember, I wasn't there, but I was told that Dr. Scroggins told everybody in the audience that he tells his oncology staff that they're not only working to save the life of the child with cancer today, but they're also restoring, that child's future. And so you never know if they're going to grow up and find a cancer fighting organization that raises millions for cancer research. And I think that's really it, which is that, we're trying to use not only our grants as a force multiplier, and helping to continue to give, but also with the leadership development program, you guys. In fact, I know that there's a lot of Texas 4000 alums that have actually directly helped by entering the healthcare profession. Do you guys have anybody on your route? I think I heard, Catherine, maybe you're going into healthcare after graduation. Is that true?
Yes, my plans later on in life are to hopefully go to medical school later and then work with groups that don't receive priority healthcare and underrepresented groups in healthcare. So especially the Ozarks route has really helped me gain a better knowledge of this. And we definitely have a lot of people on our route that are heading into the healthcare field. One of our members, the program's chairs, heading to go get her MD PhD soon. So it's pretty amazing to see how all of our members are, going to work towards what we've been working towards as well.
Yeah. That's really incredible. And I believe if it wasn't last year, it will be your class that ends up providing us our 1,000th alumni. And again, it's not just the grants we give, it's not just the miles we ride, but it's you guys, the leaders, that we're really, are really the power of the organization. Ross, we talked about, you are an alumni. Can you tell us a little bit about, the structure of the Texas 4000 alumni and kind of maybe where they range, what they're doing, things like that?
Yeah, definitely. And it's pretty incredible because not only do we have a wide variety of writing experience when writers join the organization, but we have such a wide variety of different majors within each team. And so with that, our alumni have gone on to do some incredible things. We've had alumni who have held some positions in White House administrations. We've had alumni who go on to be engineers, doctors. We have one who is a cancer survivor himself and is going into oncology. And so it's really pretty crazy to see. We have writers in advertising and PR who've also come back and participated in work with the organization as well. So within the alumni, we have something called the Alumni Council. And so that is headed up by two wonderful alumni, Sarah Kettles and Susan Williams. And they help chair that committee to keep the alumni involved with the organization. And so within that council, we have essentially at least one writer from every team that's ever been in Texas 4000 as a member of that committee to make sure that we have representation from all years and are hearing those voices and making sure that we are staying true to Texas 4000 and the ideals that have been brought through by alumni over the years. And so we see alumni being involved with our recruitment process, with the training camp, as we talked about before, so many other ways. And if for any of you who tuned into our 24-hour broadcast, you would have seen a bunch of alumni jumping on and interviewing with us and showing their support for the 2020 team. And that's one of the beautiful things of our alumni is that they come back and show support for the next teams year after year. And so it's a great community to be a part of, and we're very fortunate to have all of these wonderful writers from the past.
Yeah, I think that's it. We're not even creating just future leaders, but future leaders in philanthropy as well. I'm always in awe of how the alumni are always ready to give back and lend a hand and help, not just our organization, but as you mentioned, other organizations as well. So we really are blessed. And so, again, this is a great opportunity. This is only possible for us to do all of these things based on our supporters and specifically our sponsors and Abbott and United Heritage Credit Union and Hillcorp and the Zebra, but also the individuals that ride. And so again, if you're watching this, there's a couple different ways you can give. I mean, you can give on texas4000.org and donate directly to the organization. But also, as we were talking to Gabriella on looking at her rider profile and why she rides, every single one of these riders, it has gotten their direct training in being a philanthropist by fundraising at least $3,500 a piece. And as one of their teammates called out, they've raised $500,000. And if you think about trying to multiply 4,500 times the 78 riders, you're like, well, that doesn't add up. Well, it does, because most of them go way above and beyond. And so again, we appreciate everyone that has supported the organization, either with your time or your resources. And we really want to thank you guys, and specifically our sponsor. So, with that, I think we're going to let you guys ride and chug on a little bit more, and we'll be back in a few and close us out here for the hour.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Wes.
Yep. All right, guys, you're looking great out there. I don't know how you're doing it, because I had to go hydrate and I'm just standing up talking. I mean, you guys hopefully have your water bottles handy. Even if you're inside, you're still gonna get dehydrated quickly. So, Grayson, I know when you were talking about our visit to Dell Medical School, you mentioned your onboarding semester. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about how you apply to the organization? What really brought you to Texas 4000? And kind of tell us a little bit more about how that application process works and your onboarding semester itself.
Yeah. I played lacrosse at the University of Texas, and after some injuries it was time to cleats up and look something else. And I had a friend who's now in 2020, he was in 2019, who told me about it, and it just sparked a little fire in me, and I went to apply, and the application process was intense. With a written application, and then it was a group interview, and then an individual interview. And then we found out, I believe at the end of that fall semester, that would have been 2019, yes, the fall semester of 2018, I apologize, of 2018. So you find out then, and then you start at the beginning of the next semester, the beginning of the spring semester of 2019. And that onboarding year is mostly about, actually, it's really about supporting about the other team writing. So we were supporting a lot of 2019, and we're doing volunteering events with them, helping them with some of their century tests, and then also just getting us a gauge on what 4000 is all about. It goes so much deeper than I think a lot of us thought when we were applying. So onboarding just kind of taught us a lot, like, why do we fundraise? Why do we visit these communities? Why do we do programs? And then it was just a lot of like the volunteering events with raise 50 total. We do 25 on our onboarding period, along with some workouts that were not bike related. So Clark Field, the fields out, the intramural fields down Guad, things like that. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, we're still getting comments in, so everybody bring in your comments. But one I just saw, Gabriella, and we'll start with you and go around the horn. But what drew each of you guys to the Ozarks route?
So for me, I actually have quite a bit of family in Iowa. That's where both my parents were born and raised. So for me, the opportunity to we were supposed to go through Dubuque, Iowa, which was my parents' hometown, and we were going to stay with my family there. And I was really excited about that because that's actually where my cousin was from. And then she got all her treatment in Iowa City at the University of Iowa Medical Center. So the opportunity to go through Iowa and to be the first Ozarks team to do so was really one of the main draws to Ozarks for me. And also just the fact that we get to go through so many communities and visit so many hospitals. Because for me, like I said, I wasn't a cyclist before. So the main draw to Texas 4000 for me was the mission. And so to be able to visit so many hospitals, I think, was definitely a major draw for me.
Absolutely. Catherine, what about you?
Similar to Gabriella, I actually have family along the routes. I have family in Mobile, Alabama, so it would be a cool way for them to integrate my life into what its mission I'm working towards for them in the communities that they live in. And also just the fact that we do go through a lot of various types of towns and cities with different sizes and diversities, and just getting to see that and impact that we have across the spectrum is pretty amazing. And there's also some other reasons, just I can't exactly explain it, but I was just really drawn towards Ozarks and what we have.
Yeah, that's great. And Grayson, how about you?
I actually know prep. So when route selections came out, I decided to kind of leave my fate up to the higher powers. But I'm really, really glad I ended up on Ozarks. It was the place where I meant to be. So
yeah, that's fantastic. Well, yeah, it's a great post here. We see everybody here riding indoors on trainers, but if you check out all of our social channels, specifically on Facebook, we have a lot of information on how to ride safely outdoors as well. Now, when you do it, take a picture post-ride, or even if you have a GoPro on your bike or something like that, make sure you tag Texas 4000 in your social post. You can tag it hashtag ride with T4K, or also hashtag T4K rides on. And we're also on some of the virtual platforms as well. If anybody's on Zwift, there is a Texas 4000 rider on there. And I do know I got invited to a meetup this morning. So I do know that if you follow Texas 4000 on Zwift, it's the Texas 4000, texas4000.org user. Then you may get invited to some meetups, or may see the rider online when these guys are riding virtually in the mornings or evenings, depending on how it is. It's But whatever you do, we do ask that you ride safely. And so again, we have some safe riding tips for riding outdoors on Facebook and on our social channels. So please, be safe and be well. What is what would you say has been the most challenging thing, Gabriella, of pivoting to this virtual ride, in the sense that this is again a completely different thing from what we've all trained for up to this point?
So I think honestly, recognizing it as a loss of the in-person ride and being able to grieve that loss while simultaneously shifting and being excited about the opportunity that we still have to do the virtual ride. And I think that it was kind of hard to find a balance for me between allowing myself to be sad about the in-person ride, but also being super excited about the new opportunities given to us with the virtual ride. Because I think sometimes it's hard to find a balance between those things, between I have to grieve this and I also want to be really excited about this new thing. So now I'm just excited about the virtual ride and all the opportunities, but it was definitely hard to find a balance between those two at the beginning when we first found out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's something I can empathize with because, I think a lot of us are struggling with how do you find a balance, when you're in quarantine, between the different parts of your life, if you will. And so that's really a great, insightful thought there. So if I wonder, I've always wondered this, and I've never asked, how competitive do you guys get on the bikes? And I would even say you may even be more competitive indoors than outdoors. And I understand you guys have all kind of set goals for yourself for the month of June. Is there any competition, and any of the riders can jump in on this, is there any competition either within the route or with the other routes as well?
Definitely with the other routes. We had a fundraising competition actually a few months ago, and I personally am a very competitive person. So I was like, what do you mean you guys aren't going to panhandle every day? But I think that also exists on the bike too, about logging a lot of miles. But I think it's definitely friendly competition because we all know we're working towards the same goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that's a great thought. You talked about panhandling. What have been the different ways that you guys have leveraged for fundraising? Because I know that that's a really impactful way to reach a lot of people in a day. But tell me a little bit about the different fundraising mechanisms that you guys use.
So one of the first things that I did is I actually started an Instagram account for a Texas 4000 Instagram account for myself and posted a lot on that about fundraising and did a big social media push. And I also did a letter writing campaign and wrote letters to a lot of family friends, which was definitely great because I have such a generous network of people. And then panhandling, which is just going to intersections and holding up signs, dancing around, which I always think is really fun, just to go out there and dance, have fun with my teammates. And actually, you'll find a lot of generous strangers too, because that just shows how many people have been impacted by cancer, that a stranger would give you a $100 bill, which happened to me a time or two panhandling.
Yeah. So and those are really great looking jerseys you guys have on. Help tell everybody else a little bit about the creation process on how you guys provide input and kind of how exciting it is when you finally get your jerseys or kits, if you will.
Yeah, so there was 3 different stages. We had the initial draft, and then we had input after that, and then there was a second draft, have input after that, and this is the 3rd draft that we're wearing now. But the riders, so I believe an alumni works on them, so shout out to alumni, and then they show us pictures during meetings, and we have a form we fill out, input, but we absolutely love the way they turned out. Personally, I think it's one of the best looking T4K jerseys out there.
Yeah, well, and I've heard Kate Bomar was a big part of designing that jersey as well. And if it's making anybody else like me jealous, you can actually get them on the Texas4000.org site as well. So as well as we have other merchandise that you can that we have available on Texas4000.org. So I probably wouldn't wear it when I'm emceeing, but maybe if I'm on the bike with you guys in the next few days, I'll see if I can fish one up for me. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys, we've got 5 more minutes here on this particular ride. So, are there any closing comments that each of you wanted to go through? Catherine, I mean, we can probably throw it to you first. Is there anything that you'd want to say in closing? I really appreciate all the effort you guys have put forth today, and thank you for helping me help educate everybody else about what we're doing this summer and what we're doing overall as an organization. So, Catherine?
Yeah, sorry, I have to apologize for earlier. I had to go plug my laptop back in. But I just wanted to thank everyone for being here and supporting us. I know this isn't exactly how we expected the ride to turn out, but like everything else in the world today, we're adapting and making the best out of the situation. And I want to thank my teammates for being here today, waking up early and just getting on the bikes and getting out here. And thank you, Wes and staff, for also being here with us today and just keeping us going throughout all this.
Good stuff. Gabriella?
Yeah, just kind of going off of that, I just want to thank everyone watching, everyone riding along with us. It means a lot that we have so much support coming in from all areas of the world. I think that's so cool. Such a cool thing about the virtual ride is that people everywhere can see what we're doing and watch us in real time. So just thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Grayson?
Yeah, I mean, just echoing what they said. I mean, this would not be possible without so many people. We got board, staff, 2020 riders, 2021 riders, hosts, donors, family, friends, and seeing that all come together and everybody coming out to support us is really meaningful. And a huge shout out to Ozarks 2020. Y'all looking good and killing it.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are looking fantastic, and you guys are all right. I mean, there's so many people that are part of this organization. I mean, you guys are the window into the organization. I mean, you're the ones that communicate with the different communities. But we talked a lot today about our grant community, our grant recipients. We've talked a lot about our host communities that we help visit along the way. And I know over the next month, you guys are really going to be reaching out to a lot of those groups and providing the same impact that we would if we were physically on the road virtually. And in fact, I think we have the opportunity to do that in an even broader sense with this virtual ride, in the sense that we can reach not only those communities that we would ride through, but also more. And so again, everybody that's watching us right now, I really encourage you to get on social media, follow what we're doing, share it with your communities as well. Make sure that you're following along at Texas4000.org with our broadcast schedule. I know we'll be in the evening tomorrow. You have Megan Leaders, who's our Texas 4000 board chair from Silicon Labs, and so she's going to be taking on the MC role for tomorrow night. We'll have ride dedications, which again, if you missed that, they'll be 30 minutes before the virtual ride with information on the website on Texas4000.org. But again, follow us on social media, follow us on Facebook. Make sure you're sharing with your communities and your organizations, because the biggest thing that we're trying to do is, again, spread the hope, knowledge, and charity. And this year we have the ability not just to do it along our routes, but really all over the world. I was fortunate enough to be able to ride along on Sunday morning, and I saw people logged in literally from overseas, and it blows my mind. But while these riders are quite literally right now doing all the hard work in the fight against cancer, everybody that's watching has the ability to do some of that work as well. And that's really just sharing the message and sharing the inspiration that these riders provide. So I wanted to thank you guys, not only for the broader that, but for putting up with me this morning. I promise, again, Ozarks deep in my heart. So 3 days from now, when you guys are back on, I'm going to try to be on my bike instead of in a dress shirt. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day today. I hope everyone stays safe. And we look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow evening. Ciao.
Thank you, Wes.
Thanks, Wes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.